Mark, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Okay, Bonnie, I'm Mark Cleverly. I'm from IBM, Director of Strategy for our global government industry. Last couple of years I've been working on our Smarter Cities work, initiatives around the world on that program. The origin of that program really was based on three really important trends we see happening in the technology world, which are mirrored in society. They're societal trends as well. So if you think about the instrumentation of the world, the fact that ever more sensors are out there of various kinds, being able to tell us more about the physical world and being able to measure or monitor what's going on in construction, in the physical infrastructure, in vehicles, and so on. The second trend being the interconnection of all of those things through things like the internet and standardization. And what that does is have an effect of creating ever more volumes of data at ever faster paces coming at us all the time. And so the third thing is to be able to analyze that information ever more near real time and drive out of it actionable insights so that cities can figure out what's happening and what best to do about it under certain conditions. And what we found over the past couple of years, we worked around the world for 2,000 projects or so with different cities, large and small, is some principles come out of that create a much richer landscape of potential solutions to societal problems. Problems in the environment, problems in public health, public safety, congestion, in sustainability. That whole landscape of potential is opening up really because of those three trends and the things that can be done with them. And one of the interesting things about the trends is that they're kind of mirrored in society as well. So if you think about the rise of the smartphone, the consumer electronics, handheld devices accessing the internet, that mirrors instrumentation, it mirrors the interconnection. So people themselves can help to contribute to understanding the condition of a city, the data that's out there, sending pictures through their 911 calls or whatever it happens to be. The rise of social networks in the last few years mirrors the interconnection. So we're collaborating and connecting people ever more powerfully. And then the third one is the use of cloud computing that's taken off, so that actually people, very ordinary people like you and me, have access to huge amounts of compute power, whether we realize it or not. Every time we do a search or post a video or a picture or something, we actually are accessing very significant computing power. So those societal things, people's behavior and their usage of technology is changing as well as these technology trends. And we think that's opening up whole new realms of possibility for solutions to the problems that cities face. That's why we're here today.
Fantastic. And so with all of that new power and all of that new data coming at us faster and faster every day, a lot of the conversation I've heard people talk about today is around engagement. So how do we get people to engage with that data and that technology in a meaningful way so they can make more informed decisions? What in your work is kind of involved in that?
Well, I think a couple of things. We if you like, the top-down side of it is what city government, city administrations can do to help with that problem. And I think that they're increasingly interested in providing infrastructures, things like wireless broadband and so on, and helping citizens with accessibility, so providing access to equipment and communications, and creating that whole infrastructure through which citizens can engage in these new ways. The other side of it, the bottom up, if you like, is people themselves deciding to get engaged and being enthusiastic. Part of that is demographic, as younger people get more engaged in city life, and they bring with them a certain degree of understanding of technology, a degree of willingness to collaborate and create stuff and work with capabilities. And then if you mix that in with the trend in cities towards opening up their own information, making it more available, partly because it's a good thing to do, and partly because actually there are possibilities that cities want to take advantage of, which they don't necessarily have the resources or the skills to go and do, to create new applications around this data. So what they're doing more of is saying, okay, let's put this data out there, make it accessible, we'll tell people how they can use it, what conditions they have to respect and so on, and then we'll just wait and see what happens. And it turns out that people care about that. Citizens take that data and are quite passionate in some cases about creating new applications that help people's lives every day in the city in which they live.
So there's really a growing culture of experimentation?
Yeah, I think it's experimentation, but I think it's also partly deliberate. And it should be partly deliberate on the part of the city administration to help to enable that. Now, not every city has the financial resources or the technology resources to do that, but over time, in conjunction with the private sector and community groups and so on, I think that enablement will start to happen in more and more places.
Can you give us an example of where that's happening really well right now?
Well, I think this whole move towards the use of the 311 systems, the non-emergent, single number non-emergency service in a large number of cities, that historically has been done purely through the telephone into a call-taking center and hence into a database. And what's happening now is very interesting because the open 311 standard, which is emerging and being helped by a number of different groups, I'm not sure it originated in San Francisco, but it kind of felt like it did, provides access to those 311 systems from all kinds of devices, smartphones of all sorts and other kinds of connectivity. And that opens up a whole new range of information into those systems. So citizens can create little applications that talk directly to these 311 systems and enhance the information that's already kind of being built up there. And then the corollary for the government is to make best use of that information, to analyze it and really drive out understanding from it. Like, what is it that people are calling about? Where are they calling from? Why is it there and not there? And what's the condition behind that that's driving up this particular set of queries? So the sky's the limit. Once you have those two kinds of infrastructures in place and the enthusiasm coming up, really the sky's the limit.
That's fantastic. So tell me, final question, what is the most intelligent thing that you have heard or learnt today?
Most intelligent thing I've learnt today? Fine question, actually. I'm a bit at a loss because I've heard so many speeches and talks and neat things. I think overall the feeling I get, rather than something that was said, but the feeling I get is that the enthusiasm level is very high, that people of all kinds, we've got urban planners, we've got programmers, we've got businessmen, they're all coming here and they're caring and they're enthusiastic. So the enthusiasm level is up. And I think that's probably the most important thing that's come out of today for me.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
And have a great flight.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark.
Cheers.